the Esperanza 243. You are here to watch and or listen to me read a book out loud. It is a personal book, actually, called Aquatica. This is part
14. Wow! I can't believe I am doing this. I can't believe I am, one video away from completing this book. And by the way, I actually looked back. I was incorrect in telling you guys the next book is Dangerous Clans. That's the third book in the trilogy. The second book that's after Aquatica is the Rap Prophecy. And you'll find out what the Rap Prophecy is in the next book. But I have decided, putting you guys into the next book of the trilogy is probably a really dramatic change for that. Too soon, I should say, because I'm sure you guys are sick of learning about the world of Aquatica. So after this reading, after this particular book, well, I haven't decided, but I think I might be going to read a book that's not mine. And I know that book is actually going to take a while. So I don't know. I'm gonna think about it. But if you guys are following me on Blog Talk Radio, I have decided a book for after Scrooge's Perfect Christmas, but I haven't figured out the schedulings of it yet. I haven't really figured out the titles of each segment. So, but I am working on that. I hope to get that up for you guys. Yeah. Wait a second. Anyways, I'm gonna do a quick recap of part 13, and then I'm gonna read. Okay, so in part 13, Garnet bumped into the criminals, the mermen who are trying to destroy Aquatica, and including the king and his family, which is a real shocker there. And she actually happened to converse with those mermen. They believe that she told them that she is new to the Mer-World, and they actually believe that, which happens to be true. But they think that she is a gullible mermaid, so they convince her to take a stuffed animal in congratulations of being a mermaid, and to kind of show off her family about it, so they can get stuffed animals from them. But she realizes, she knows that these are the criminals, after a while. She finds out in part 12, I should say. And in part 13, she's like, oh my gosh, I need to get evidence, I need to get proof that they are going to destroy Aquatica, the king and his family. So, she actually I don't remember how she does it, but she convinces them to give her a stuffed toy so that she can send it to her aunt, Kaylee, to take it to the police, which is really cool. And that's actually where Kaylee comes in. Kaylee is actually climbing over these rocks to leave this watertight suitcase that Garnet can use at any time, really. Waterproof, too. At least I think. I can't remember what I put in the description. It's already been a while since I've done the recording. And so, Garnet's mom and Amethyst worry because they remembered that there were mermen who were banned that have returned. So they follow Garnet, oddly enough, avoiding those mermen. I never really made it clear of how that happened or anything like that. But Amber, Garnet's mom, she finally gets to talk to her sister, which hasn't happened in years, since Garnet was born, really. And so, I think they didn't really talk much, unfortunately, because they were trying to... No, Garnet is really trying to convince both her aunt and her mom to give the toy to the land police, because she knows that the land police can help try to stop these men, even though they believe that that they need mer people to stop them. But Garnet knows what she needs to do, and she actually does convince them to do it. And she also realizes that she needs King Adelaide's help in stopping these men, which is insane, but it's true. So, Amber and Keeley say goodbye to each other, at least for now. We don't know if they'll meet ever again, but who knows. And of course, after that, Garnet, Amber, and Amethyst, they all go to Aquatica to try to convince the king to help out. Of course, this is right before sunrise. They need to get him to get everything in action before sunrise happens. Because, once sunrise happens, the mermen can get their tails dry to become human-looking and carry out their evil deeds, which is unfortunate. And I'm talking a little too much, but where we stopped was when she sees Ezra and tells him that he needs to wake up the king to help out. So, but he doesn't know what's going on. He's waking up the king, and they're about to find out. So let's go ahead and continue. Within 15 minutes, Ezra and the king arrived in the grand room.
This better be good, otherwise my sleep was wasted,
the king rumbled. Garnet bit her lower lip. I'm sorry, Your Majesty, she said, as she bowed. Amber and Amethyst bowed as well. King Adelaide sighed and shook his head. He looked at her and smiled with admiration.
No, I must apologize. I didn't mean to be rude, Miss Garnet. It is nice to see you again.
She blushed. Your Majesty.
Miss Garnet, I thought I told you to call me Uncle Adelaide.
Amethyst gasped, although she didn't need to. The king gave her an odd look as Garnet eyed her. She sighed and placed a hand on her mother's shoulder. Uncle, this is my mother, Amber Tarleton. Next to her is a distant relative of ours, Amethyst Gailton.
Gailton,
he murmured, smiling.
I remember that branch of the family well. My sister loved playing games, he said as he chuckled.
Hi there, Uncle, Amethyst murmured sheepishly.
Amethyst, I was beginning to think you disappeared. Where have you been these past few weeks?
He eyed her carefully. I'm sorry. I was helping Amber with some things near one of the shipwrecks. The king narrowed his eyes with warning. She bit her lip nervously.
I thought I told you not to go that far from Aquatica. You could have been eaten by a shark,
he whispered hotly. Amethyst looked down as King Adelaide shook his head.
I'm sure all of you didn't wake me for discovering more of the family. What is going on?
Amber moved forward and spoke. Your Majesty, we bring bad news. There are some mermen you banned from Aquatica who have returned. He widened his eyes.
How do you know of me banning mermen?
She looked down with shaking nerves. I've been living near Aquatica for the past 15 years. I know what goes on around the kingdom.
Which mermen are you talking about? I've banned quite a few in the past 15 years,
he asked. Amber sighed. You banned them 5 years ago. It was something about transporting items from here to land. I can't quite remember the details.
I think I remember this, but only barely.
The king looked at her.
You think these men are here?
I don't think so. I know for a fact. Garnet has crossed their paths twice now. The last time she was able to take something with them knowing. His eyes stared at Garnet, filled with startle.
With them knowing? Where is it now? Do they know where it is?
He asked furiously. Amber sighed again and glanced at her daughter. Garnet gulped. I don't have it, Uncle. I happened to bump into my aunt at Virginia Beach. I was able to convince her to take the thing and bring it to the police.
He widened his eyes with fury.
Nowadays, the police have technology to identify what is what. With that, and people in those towns, they are able to arrest anyone who has broken a law if there is enough evidence. I know certain things about these bad mermen. I told Aunt Kaylee everything. If the police can set a trap before it's sunrise, they'll be able to arrest them.
He narrowed his eyes. Then why come to me? Why wake me at this hour?
Garnet sighed with frustration. If they find out what's going on, there will be a chance for them to escape through a tunnel, which happens to have an opening near the beach and also leads nearby here. You could set a trap like the police and capture them. That is, if they do escape.
King Adelaide sighed. He closed his eyes before opening them and looked at her. What is this item?
It's a stuffed animal, about this tall, she said, using her hands to show the height. When I first looked at it, I knew it was made of real fur. Tonight, when I grabbed one of them, it felt heavy. I think there's something inside it besides cotton. The merman in charge said it would kill any fish in contact.
He gasped. He shook his head as he paced back and forth. Ezra! He called.
His advisor moved forward.
Yes, Your Majesty. Make certain all the guards are doing their duties. Also gather at least 12 guards. I want to make sure both ends of this tunnel are covered. Yes, Your Majesty, at once.
Ezra replied, bowing. He swam off to carry the orders.
Garnet, I want you to show me these entrances.
She nodded. Yes, sir. She looked at Amethyst and back at the king. I'm going to need Amethyst's help on finding the opening near here.
He nodded.
Garnet had shown her uncle the tunnel opening near his castle with Amethyst's help. After that, without using the tunnel, she, King Adelaide, Amethyst, and Amber swam to the other opening. He rubbed his chin when he saw the opening, while planning his side of the trap. It was an interesting 2 hours watching him instruct 6 guards on what to do. He kept changing things every so often. Amber and Amethyst giggled each time. Garnet had other things on her mind. She was thinking of what had happened since she found her mother. A lot of things seemed to clear up. She then remembered her mom talking to Aunt Kaylee about a note she left for her. She tapped her mom on the shoulder and motioned her to follow. Amber nodded. They swam a little ways away, so no one would hear their conversation. What is it, my dear? She asked her daughter. There's something bothering me. Amber gave her a curious expression. The note you told Aunt Kaylee about? What is it about? What was it about? Her mother gasped and looked around. Can't this wait until later, Garnet? The sun is about to rise. She tried reasoning. Garnet looked eastward. The sun was beginning to rise. She looked back at Amber. Garnet's eyes filled with worry and fear. Amber felt sad and gave her a motherly look. I'm sure it would, Mom, but I can't wait any longer. I want to know. Very well, then, she thought for a moment. I left saying I was going away. The nightmare I had when I was a child, it came back. I kept having it week after week. I couldn't take it anymore. I thought that if I went to sea, I could figure out what this nightmare was about. She sighed. I didn't think going in the ocean would change my life, she whispered, looking to the side. Amber glanced back at Garnet. I even mentioned that I wanted your father to raise you. If I didn't call him back in a certain amount of time, then he should keep it all a secret, to not let you know what I did. Tears filled her eyes, remembering all of it over again. I wish I could take it all back, that I didn't go into the ocean. Garnet hugged her. Don't cry about it, Mom. Her mother hugged her back. You could have taken me with you, you know. They pulled apart. She nodded her head, wiping her tears. I know. Amber sighed. I didn't think I was ready. I was afraid you would grow up with the same habits I did. I didn't want you to be teased about it all while you grew up. She shook her head. Now that I know what the connection is between my dream and the ocean, I would have been scared if you chose the ocean over your family. Garnet smiled. I would have chosen my family, even if there was a choice. Amber nodded. Amethyst told me before that I could go on land if my tail was dry. She paused. I didn't try until a year or two ago. I was afraid to try. I'm glad I did. It had been a long time since I felt sand in my toes. She and Garnet chuckled. Amber scoffed lightly. Each time I went on land, though, I always had a hard time getting myself to go. She was quiet for a moment. I still remember. She sighed shakily. I could never figure out if I would find you, or Kaylee, or your father. Each time I could never get far. I couldn't figure out whether to go after sunset. She sniffed and wiped whatever tears came out. It's hard to stay out there with limitations. I sometimes wondered if it's possible to keep human legs after sunset. She paused to cup Garnet's cheek. But here you are. She smiled. A mermaid, no less. Not what I expected. But now you and I can get together more often. She sighed as she felt weights coming off her shoulders. It's a shame we're allowed to have legs until sunset. It does. I won't be able to see Aunt Kaylee on a daily basis. She licked her lips. At least I'll be able to see Marion. She lives about 3 hours away from Virginia Beach. I'd have to go in the morning, though, if I wanted to visit her for a while. That's when her mother had a brainstorm. Amber gasped. That's why you went to King Adelaide's before sunrise. Because once the sun is up, the mermen won't go on land and... She gasped again. She looked around carefully, while Garnet narrowed her brows in confusion. Oh, what's wrong? We don't know where the mermen are resting. If they're not inside the tunnel and using that hole, they would know their traps are set. Amber rushed. Garnet gasped. Meanwhile, Kaylee had a hard time convincing the police. She even gave them the stuffed animal for examination. The police studied the evidence. It turned out it was made of real fur, but not the type for it to be illegal. Inside the stuffed animal, cotton had been replaced with drugs. That convinced them to take Kaylee seriously. She told the truth. They soon had 2 police cars with 5 officers heading to the park. She followed in her own car. With 15 minutes, they were hastening all over the park, searching for a cave. One of the officers found a cave, but not the right one. The police kept searching. Kaylee couldn't take it anymore and decided to join the cave search. She soon stopped herself. She realized she had entered an area of the park she had walked before. She tried remembering what happened that day. We didn't just walk. Someone had walked by us, she whispered. She thought for a moment and gasped, remembering. I knew he wanted something else besides casual chat. She went off in search of an officer nearby. When she called out to a police officer, he rushed to her side. They entered the familiar part of the park. Kaylee went to every rocky area, going over the surface with her hand. In seconds, she felt the curve of an arch. She looked behind her. An officer was there. She gave him a motion that the cave was in front of her. He nodded, pressed a button on his walkie-talkie, and spoke into it. All of the police officers arrived in 1 minute flat. One entered the cave and did a quick search. No one had entered. Yet. After that, the officers hid in parts of the area in a flash. They were still able to see the cave's opening and the entrance to their parts of the park. Kaylee widened her eyes at their quick pace. She looked for the nearest officer and hid next to him. 4 men then entered the area, 2 of which Garnett already met. To know, the kind partner complained. If you weren't so concerned about her happiness, that mermaid wouldn't have taken it, the bossy partner yelled. You're a wuss! He stormed off into the cave. Kaylee closed her eyes, trying not to imagine what it would have been like bumping into a male like him. She turned her head away. Hearing more after that made her shiver. For the next few minutes, the 2 partners quarreled for what felt like a long time. Boxes had been moved by all 4 men. They were about done. The bossy partner came out with 2 medium-sized boxes before he sighed in frustration. Did you not hear me? The boss yelled. Call Enrique! We need to get this stuff out of here. If she took that toy to King Adelaide's, we're probably already trapped. You are trapped, Kaylee thought to herself. Probably on both sides by now. His partner came out as he took his cell phone from a pocket and called that person. The other 2 men came out carrying boxes. They set the boxes down and took a deep breath. A loud whistle could be heard, but it sounded a lot like a bird. Can never sound like a bird. The police officers came out of hiding. Freeze! One of the officers shouted. The boss widened his eyes. Kaylee stayed hidden. Put the boxes down. Put your hands behind your head and stay there. I am gonna stop there. Oh my gosh. Ah! Good grief. Oh my gosh. So exciting. Alright, well, I do believe that is it, everyone. I wish you all good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, wherever you are in the world. I am the Esperanza243, signing out to you all. Stay awesome and stay on YouTube.